We are getting dangerous this week. It's all about the dangerous lovers. Welcome. This is the Fright Club podcast.
I'm Hope Madden.
And I'm George Wolf, and we're from madwolf.com, where you can get all the reviews of all the latest movies. Very quickly, two big ones out this week. Ghostbusters, we both liked it. And in the horror genre, The Wailing,
which is awesome.
Which we
I know
both
a lot
liked.
of people love the 2.5-hour Asian horror as much as I do, but it's really super worth it. It's weird and creepy and awesome.
That's a good one. And by the way, if you didn't know, as if we didn't have enough to do, we do a second podcast every week now called the Screening Room Podcast, where we just talk about the new movies, whatever they are. So we break it down in more detail. If you want to check that out, it's at thescreeningroompodcast.com, or you can always find it on our Facebook page, madwolfcolumbus.com. So that's enough shameless plugging, I think, at least for a little while. Well, we'll do more later. But we want to do some thanks for last week. We had a lot of fun talking about The Evil Children.
We did, and the Brood was the big winner. Which I didn't fully expect.
It's that Oliver Reed factor.
Is that what it is?
Crazy and perverse, as we talked about last week. Yeah.
That's the one, so many people, I think Kevin said he had not seen it before, and I think Mike said it was going to haunt his dreams, the puffy-coated children, right? And then, who is it? King of Gong Style, not commented before.
Welcome, King of Gong Style.
That's right, welcome. And we really love, A, your handle, and B, your taste in films.
We do. We love that. So, and we want to. That was last week, and this week it's Dangerous Lovers. We want to give a quick plug. We're very excited about the next edition of Fright Club Live, which is going to be on August the 10th, Wednesday.
And we're thinking seriously of having merit badges. If you come,
you know what though, I feel bad because I didn't even mention that we are doing this podcast live from the Gateway Film Center.
What?
We're live, as we all are once a month. It's Fright Club Live, so I apologize for not mentioning that, but we are live in front of that great Gateway audience. And that's what we're going to be back here in a month. It's August the 10th, and the theme is going to be...
See the original, not the remake. That's the theme.
That's the theme. See the original, not the remake. And this one... We got this great idea. It's going to be a tough movie to watch, so we are going to make up some merit badges. If you can make it all the way through Martyrs on the big screen, you're going to get You're going to get a Fright Club Martyrs merit badge.
That's
because
right.
This is going to separate the women from the girls. I was going to say men from the boys, but that's sexist. So who can stick it out? So anyway, we were just very excited about that, so we wanted to give that a plug right away.
But we know you guys, you made it through The Woman, and you also made it through Inside. So you've toughened yourself up.
Yeah.
I bet you could maybe watch Martyrs.
Yeah, we could have had merit badges for those.
Although I'm not going to post that flyer at work. That's not going up.
So that's looking ahead a month. But we've got good stuff. We're a little lighter theme this month. We're doing Sightseers tonight. Ben Wheatley, horror comedy, dark, but a lot of fun. And
a British horror comedy, they do them better than anybody. They're just really dry and funny and silly and outstanding. And this is, I like this better. I think probably the all-time most famous British horror comedy is Shaun of the Dead. I like Sightseers better. I think it's funnier. And this is the first time it has screened in Columbus.
Nice. So we're in for a treat. So that's going to be on our countdown here somewhere, but it's not at number 5 because we're going to start out our countdown of Dangerous Lovers with a movie we've talked about a lot here the last few weeks, but that's good because I think it kind of slips through the cracks sometimes, and that is the musical Sweeney Todd.
15 years dreaming I might come home to a wife and child.
Benjamin Parker.
No Barker. Sweeney Todd now.
I will have vengeance. I will have salvation.
You're poking mad.
The years no doubt have changed me. How about a shave? At last, my arm is complete again.
All right, if you're an experienced Fright Clubber, you know I've proclaimed my love for the musical theater. I love the musicals. I love Stephen Sondheim. And this is perfect for us because it brings...
Because I don't, in a really big way. That is not my bag.
This is perfect
but
because this is a great combination of that music and an incredible visual style of Tim Burton.
Right. And as I've said before, Johnny Depp, Dreamboat, right? I didn't ever fully appreciate his dreaminess until he held that razor up, and then I was like, yeah, all right. I can get behind this.
Yeah, they're definitely dangerous lovers. And one of the things that Tim Burton did with this is he actually made it darker, he made it bloodier. Of course, he had to take out some songs from the stage play, but he really made it even darker and bloodier and brought out that really sinister side of it.
And the core story is actually even older than Dracula, which we mentioned not too long ago. It's from the Penny Dreadfuls. It's an incredibly old story. And if you're not familiar with it, Sweeney Todd is a homicidal barber who happens to live upstairs from a woman who's running out of meat for her meat pies. So they just make a really efficient pair. They just take care of business. And truth be told, they're the only pair on the countdown that aren't legitimately lovers. But as you can see from the dream sequence, she's pretty moony over him, and so we just wanted to go ahead. I mean, they act as a couple. They're efficient. They take care of stuff. They get their bills paid together. So I just wanted to include them here.
Yeah, and for anybody that hadn't heard when we talked about this before, both Johnny Depp and Helena Bonham Carter had to audition for the notoriously tough Stephen Sondheim to kind of get his permission, so to speak, which they got. And this is the first time that Johnny Depp really sang, since Crybaby he didn't do the singing.
Right.
The first time that he really sang for a film, and he's fine.
He does a great job.
These are tough songs. And she does an equally good job, too. And, of course, Alan Rickman is fantastic.
Yeah, he is great.
Sacha Baron Cohen is in it as well.
Timothy Spall.
Yeah.
Effortlessly villainous Timothy Spall.
Exactly. So, but for our purposes, for this week's purposes, it centers around that pair of dangerous lovers. And, boy, once those blades come out, he's dangerous.
He is.
He's dangerous. I don't think you're scared at all. And that's number 5, Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street, 2007. Is the year for that on our list of dangerous lovers. And, I like this one.
Yeah, this is for you, George.
One of the few where I like it and she doesn't. And this is number 4 from 1987, Hellraiser.
Hellraiser. Beyond any terror you have imagined. A nightmare.
No.
Unlike anything you have witnessed. Is born. Because within these walls, the unholy is unleashed. Hellraiser, a film by Clive Barker.
We'll tear your soul apart.
That's Julia and Uncle Frank from Hellraiser. And, of course, really the reason to love Hellraiser is the Cenobites. Clearly, Pinhead is wildly awesome.
So what's your beef?
No, but these two are great. I think that Claire Hughes, who plays Julia, is easily the most talented person in this film, and I think that she's wicked and horrible and also sort of weirdly turned on by this ritual, and she's got to bring blood to the... I don't even know if it's a corpse, the remains of her lover, Frank, her brother-in-law, Frank.
Yeah.
And so she lures men to this dilapidated building, and then Frank comes out of the floorboards and sops them up. It's beautiful. And you know it must be true love because you got to look at Frank, and yeesh, that's a homely boyfriend.
The more blood that she spills, the more he comes back. Yeah. And, of course, it all... sprang to life from opening the box.
That's right.
And bringing the Cenobites out. And as they said, they'll tear your soul apart. And I don't know. I was really surprised that you don't like this as much as I do. I mean, yeah, you watch it now, and the production values are pretty weak. I mean, the effects are pretty weak, but they had a very limited budget. It's Clive Barker. It's Clive Barker's first directing effort. Mm-hmm. And for what he had to work with... I thought it's still today is pretty sweet. And it did some things at the time, 1987, following the teen slashers, the rise of those types of movies. You saw, number one, I know you don't like the teenage girl in this, but...
Well, she's no Heather Langenkamp.
Or PJ Soul. We won't bore you with that. But she does think it's more of a thinking character, at least the character. No matter what you think of the performance, the character actually is plotting and trying to make intelligent moves.
In between screeches.
Yeah, to outsmart the Cenobites, and does a good job of it. And not only that, but you brought up the sexual perversion angle. Because you're right, she is weirdly turned on by this.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
that gave it the whole slasher-type horror film of this era, I think, a whole new... More of an adult theme. And
well, I do love the Cenobites.
Oh, they're great.
I love them all. I think they're awesome, and I love, the concept. The execution. There are too many of the characters who just I find wildly irritating to really love the movie in the way you do.
You know, and it ended up working for the movie that Doug Bradley, the lead Cenobite, who was originally referred to as the priest, but he just ended up getting
Pinhead,
called Pinhead.
Yeah.
He wasn't originally supposed to be the only one that spoke, but the makeup of the other ones made it almost impossible for the actors to speak. But I think it works because he is so, his voice.
There's the one that goes.
Oh, that one, yeah.
It's hard to talk when you're doing that.
Chopper or whatever it is, yeah. But I think it works that he's got a very commanding voice.
He does,
and then with that whole Pinhead getup, I thought was pretty commanding of a horror movie icon, and it certainly has stayed the test of time. He's still, when you see Pinhead, everybody, and it's a horror fan, is going to identify with that right away.
But one of the great things about the movie is that it's got villains and villains, right? Mm-hmm. So basically you're choosing which team you're on, Team Cenobites from Hell who want to tear your soul apart, or creepy, bloody stump lovers.
Is that a band? I love them. They really work. But Dangerous Lovers, and she's really the dangerous one because she does the killing. Yeah,
well, he's hoping to become dangerous again, but right now he's just, pulp.
Exactly. So that's Hellraiser at number 4 from 1987, The Dangerous Lovers. And at number 3, the one we're going to see here in just a little bit, Ben Wheatley's horror comedy, A Holiday Gone Dark. It's Sightseers.
Yeah, good girl.
You are going to pick that up?
I didn't do that.
If you don't pick up this excrement immediately, then I'm going to have to inform the National Trust.
Report that to the National Trust, mate.
Never thought about murdering innocent people before.
He's not a person, Tina. He's a Daily Mail reader.
Police are pursuing a ginger-faced man and an angry woman.
Have you had a nice holiday?
Yeah, had a brilliant holiday.
Fuck you!
Death wears a ginger beard. That was the tagline for this movie. That's the best.
It's
right,
so
I'm looking at you right there. That's right. Freddie, look out.
And it had me because I have to admit, I'm probably the guy that gets killed because I'm the guy that is always telling people to clean up their dog's poop. So he's going to hit me with a shovel and it's over. But this is it's really funny and it's dark. It's got that Edgar Wright is involved, so you think Shaun of the Dead.
Sure.
But I think this is darker than Shaun of the Dead.
It's drier, certainly. I mean, it's less, but it's still very silly, and it takes the idea of, your Badlands or Natural Born Killers or Bonnie and Clyde, and just sucks all the glamour out of it and makes it the lamest, most boring human beings in the whole world. But I think it's very clever because, in a way, that's what he's pissed off about. Like, that's really what's fueling it. It's not sadistic boredom. It's just like everybody thinks they're too good for him, and he's going to straighten that out.
Right, and I think it's also a comment on just the English way of life.
Yeah.
As the English way, as Pink Floyd would say. Yeah, we don't want to say too much about it because I know there's some people that haven't seen it, but it's just wonderful like that. It's so dry and funny and dark, and there's some kills. There's some killing going on.
Yeah, people die. I'm not gonna lie to you. People die, but it's worth it. And just we're not gonna say anything else about it, but I love the opening scene in this movie so much. I remember at the time, like, you'll be going, "What is that exactly?" And it's brilliant. So let me know if you disagree, and I'll just smack you.
So that's number 3, Sightseers from 2012. We're going to see here in just a little bit. And number 2, back to 1983, in The Dangerous Vampire Lovers from The Hunger.
What have you done to me?
Forever and ever.
And life signs terminate right here.
The timeless beauty of Catherine Deneuve. The cruel elegance of David Bowie. The open sensuality of Susan Sarandon. Combined to create a modern classic of perverse fear. The Hunger.
Don't you love that trailer? the open sensuality of. That's code word for there's going to be girl-on-girl action. That's what they're trying to get across.
I just love the adjectives, too, that they throw, because it's not like they're quotes. It's not like they've got, somebody's name attached to it. These are just the words we want you to think. Perverse, riveting, sensual.
But still, that aside, I mean, the trailer's kind of funny, but no, it still holds up. It's Susan Sarandon's hairstyle does not hold up at all. But and as far as the dangerous lovers go, Miriam is the dangerous one, because as long as she's holds you in favor, you're fine. But then when it's time to go, you're gone.
I don't know. Bowie kills some people.
He does, but I mean, she's got a long list of bodies in the basement, so to speak.
She does,
and they've got to know. I think he does know that his clock is ticking, even though it's been ticking for hundreds of years. That's going to eventually be his end. But
the reason that they're on this is that together they would go to nightclubs, and they would bring home new wavers who like to listen to Bauhaus, and then they would kill them. And it was cool. It was when I saw this movie the first time, of course, David Bowie. There's not really that much he could do that wouldn't have been super fine by me.
Oh, exactly. Even though he's not in it very long.
No, but he's awesome in it.
He is awesome in it, and it sets up the whole narrative of what's coming for Susan Sarandon.
Right, and so then they would have gone on to be dangerous lovers.
Yeah.
Susan Sarandon is too wily for Catherine Deneuve.
Well, the funny thing is, Susan Sarandon wasn't really wild about the way they changed the ending to allow for sequels. Originally, sequels were planned for this because the guy that wrote the source novel actually wrote 2 more books, but no sequel has ever come about, and the studio insisted on changing the ending so she would live, so to allow for that, but it's never come about, which is kind of...
It didn't make any money when it came out. The movie didn't make any money when it was released.
But it's almost surprising that someone to this day hasn't picked it up and tried to make one about it. But
we could. Let us do that.
Has to be a little Fright Club project. We could do that. Get all liquored up and go out and make a movie. And you saw in the trailer Willem Dafoe in the phone booth there. Was that his debut? Because he was
I think it was.
Next to nobody at that time. And this is directed by Tony Scott.
Right.
But originally Ridley Scott, I think, was attached to this. And for some reason, I think legend has it, he wasn't wild about the fact that David Bowie was cast in it, which I can't
Sacrilege,
really understand.
Idiocy.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, it would have been a better movie if Ridley Scott had directed it.
Probably so. But it just has a bit of a cool sheen to it. I mean, Catherine Deneuve and David Bowie just make a couple of cool vampires.
Yeah, they totally do.
They really do.
Yeah, they definitely do.
Probably the coolest until we saw Tilda Swinton and Tom Hiddleston a few years ago in Only Lovers Left Alive, which was so awesome. So that's our pair, Miriam Blaylock and John Blaylock from The Hunger.
Fear her. Pray for her.
Perverse. From 1983. And number 1 on our list of dangerous lovers. This is a pair that's a story that's been told a few times, but never better than just a couple of years ago. Alleluia.
On la séduit, on se marie.
Now, this story is loosely based on the Lonely Hearts Killers. They allegedly killed 20 women between 1947 and 1949, which has come to the big screen in various forms in, I think, multiple movies.
Yes, there have been at least 2 others. The one with Jared Leto and Salma Hayek. So a much better-looking set of dangerous lovers, but a far inferior film.
Yeah, and this one you may recognize Laurent Lucas.
Yeah.
Is that how you pronounce his name? From our favorite Calvaire.
Right, so it's directed by Fabrice Duwelt, who is the Belgian director who directed Calvaire, and if you know this podcast at all, you know that we absolutely adore that film. And it's part of a trilogy that he's making basically about unhinged loneliness and passion. And in this case, Lola Dueñas plays Gloria, who is meant to be one of the marks, and then just sort of weasels her way in on board, and then things go wildly wrong after that. And it's just to watch the 2 of them together and the way their relationship evolves is just perversely fascinating.
Yeah, because part of the plan is if she's going to be involved, she has to let him, seduce these women and marry them and take what they have, their fortunes or what he can of it. And she gets so jealous she won't allow that and just starts messing with the plan by killing them. And then he starts to think, you can tell his wheels are turning. He has to get out of this somehow. But
at the same time, I mean, one of the things that it does well is it keeps you guessing because you're not sure. Because I don't think he's sure if he does wants out of it or doesn't want out of it. And one of the things I like about it too is the way it's filmed. They, in the movie Calvaire, the way it was shot was to make Laurent Lucas seem sweet looking, delicate looking. But in this one, he's all angles. That it's shot to be very unflattering, and even more on Lola Dueña. She's just all creases and bags and things. And I think that's really interesting the way, because it's about, as opposed to the one with, let's say, Salma Hayek, it's about preying on these lonely people. And it's really, the whole thing is kind of a rumination on madness and loneliness.
Yeah.
And so, but it works really well that kind of like Sightseers, that he just drains all the glamour out of this story of seduction and sex and death, which is, I think, just fascinating.
And I think her performance is very good to allow her character arc that goes from, she is lonely. They set her up with a date for him at the beginning, and she's shy about it, but she's so lonely, and she just, grabs onto him, thinks he's just her dream come true, and then is just so mad with, like you say, with either loneliness or passion or whatever, that she thinks she can handle this situation.
Well, she does. She leaves her daughter with a babysitter, and then just never comes back. She goes completely off. It's a great performance. Both of them are. They're both great performances, and it's just an unsettling film.
And a very ambiguous, vague ending. One that you also need to stay all the way through for. There's a little extra going on that can leave you questions about what. Right. What is real? Is it real? Is it not? Whose perspective is it?
And then also, if you're familiar with Calvaire, if you like Calvaire, there are a lot of little reminders of that movie, sort of placed like Easter eggs throughout this movie, which is, I mean, fun is like the wrong word, but I thought it was fun.
But definitely a dangerous pair of lovers from 2014, Alleluia, and that's number one on our list. And we're getting ready to see Sightseers here in just a few minutes. But next week, the podcast, we're gonna kind of take a 180 and look at military horror.
Yeah, that's right.
Interesting. I'm already interested in what you're going to come up with for that one. And then, as we said, back here, August the 10th, the next edition of Fright Club Live, and it's going to be extra special because you can earn your Fright Club Martyrs Merit Badge if you can make it all the way through. That's yes.
And we might not mock you if you leave.
No, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. No doubt about it. So looking forward to that. And we'll get the movie rolling here in just a couple of minutes. This podcast will be ready probably Monday. You can find it at madwolf.com as always. And also, as always, keep the conversation going with us, as a lot of you do. Colossal Bandits here, back in the house. Thank you. On Twitter, we're at MadWolf, MADDWOLF, MadWolf Columbus on Facebook. And also for all the movies, all the new movies, again, we've got the brand new podcast, the screeningroompodcast.com. So all that is out there. Please hit us up. And as we said, next month, we're going to have fun with Martyrs. We're going to see Sightseers here in just a few minutes. Until then,
I'm Hope Madden.
I'm George Wolf. This is the Fright Club Podcast. That might have been the best one ever. That was great. Hey, thank you guys. Enjoy the movie. Thank you so much.